Hello, and welcome to another BrickSlopes overview. This was BrickSlopes 2024, and I'm going to talk about it. Uh, so first off, I would like to note that I got a lot of footage of all the mocks, but I took that on my camera, and the SD card got corrupted or something. So all you're gonna see is footage from the dark hours, which is mainly the builds that lit up. And I feel kind of bad because there were a lot of builds that I really liked, that I wish I had footage of, but unfortunately, um, I can't really go back and get more footage. Uh, but so just enjoy the footage that I did get, and just know if you were there, if you displayed and you don't see your mock in this video, it's not because I hate your mock. It's because my SD card hates me. Um, but so moving into BrickSlopes 2024, I I got there, and immediately when you walked in, uh, space. Space was the big difference. Where I'm pretty sure that we did have double the amount of space that we had last year, which is really nice because we already expanded last year. But this year it was way nice, and it was actually kind of nice in that the aisleways were relatively big and relatively wide this year. So this year I didn't have any problems, really walking anywhere. Whereas last year there were a few times where you'd have someone with a stroller on one end, someone with a stroller on the other end, and then a few kids in between, and you just sort of have to wait for a bit for people to get moving. But I didn't really have that problem this year. Uh, the other kind of weird thing to note about this year that I'm sure things happen. Uh, um, uh, I'm not sure exactly what went down. I know they mentioned that they had a lot of like last minute mock registrations, so that could have had something to do with it. But basically, so initially there were two different entire sections set up for Star Wars, and so I marked out my space, and uh, then sort of went over to do stuff, and then later in the day they had essentially expanded the art section to take over the second Star Wars section. And luckily for me, because I had to bring Aldani later in the day, uh, I was able to move into the actual Star Wars section and get an actually good spot for Aldani. Um, but it did make the Star Wars section seem fairly empty, which was kind of surprising, especially compared to last year where it was super packed. Um, but this year it was relatively empty, which was kind of had to do with because there were three or four really big Star Wars mocks that were still over in the new art section. Um, and so I think if they had been over in the Star Wars section, then that might have worked out. But I don't know. It was kind of hard to tell. It was kind of bizarre. But overall, things ended up working out. Check-in was super fast this time. to the point where, because basically they had you stand in a line and you gave your name to like a runner, and then they ran up, they grabbed your bag, and then went over and told your name to the people doing check-in. Then they walked back, grabbed you, or gave you your bag, and then you were good to go. And so, like, I didn't even get up to the front of the line before I was checked in, and so it felt kind of weird where it's like, oh, okay, like, I guess we're done. Like, oh, okay. Um, but it was super efficient and, like, really cool to see how they managed to do that. And I definitely liked that this year. So last year, you got a bag of parts, um, like bulk parts, with your, like, when you signed in, and they had like a big box, and they had people pick through them, and so sometimes when the line was short, people would get to sort through and like grab really nice pieces, and then sometimes when the line was bigger, they'd be kind of rushing people through, just grab and go. And I really liked that this year it was all just pre-sorted. Everyone got a random bag, and then at the yard sale, which this year they did on 2 of the days, so they did it on Friday and Saturday morning. Um, they had a table where you could swap out your bag of parts, um, and so that way, like, it basically ensured that everyone could have a chance to get what they wanted. Which I thought was really nice. I thought that was a really good decision to change that up. Um, but this BrickSlopes, the big takeaway was definitely that it's so much bigger than it was last year. Um, it was a little overwhelming, but like, overall, it's definitely a good thing to see. Um, and like, everything was basically an improvement over last year. Because like the seed part challenge, a lot of this you can see in my haul video, but like the seed part challenge, that seed part was way better than last year. Um, the drafts maybe left a little to be desired. Um, Not that they were bad sets, because I think my first year they did the like BB-8 set, and that one was kind of a bad draft pick because it had a lot of parts that weren't very desirable. Um, but they did, I think both times it was a botanical set. Those had some pretty good parts. But like, I don't know, I still kind of wish that they had picked like a like Monkey Kid set or some like big DTC set. Um, but like, the drafts were cool. Um, Building a bag was bigger. Uh, Speed build was about the same as last year. Blind build was, I think, slightly bigger. I mean, they're both Creator 3-in-1 sets. Felt a lot more difficult uh, this year, that's for sure. But like, swag, I feel like there was more swag this year than last year, and they're still experimenting, because that's what AFOLs do. We experiment, but they had definitely gotten closer to like uh, streamlining the swag process, in a way that everyone ended up getting more swag who wanted more swag, and so that was really cool. Um, and yeah, we had a ton of vendors, and I think I'm trying to think, because I know there were a few, or maybe like two, that were selling in-box sets. But I think even those ones, they had some retired sets, so it wasn't all just marked up retail, which was nice. It was kind of weird. I think in one of these video clips that's been playing, um, I think I captured a shot of the Verizon booth, which is super weird to me. Like it feels kind of weird because that's the first like non-Lego vendor that I've seen at BrickSlopes. Like that, everyone else has something to do with Lego, even if they're just like selling clothing. Or I know like a couple years ago, there was, or maybe it was last year, there was a booth that they were selling like a box that you could build your Lego in. Um, but like Verizon had nothing to do with Lego to the point where I thought it was a little like misplanned on their part because they were doing like a special giveaway thing, but they had like little like rubber character blind bags, and I was like, why just buy like a CMF series? Like, like just get a box of CMF. Like, you're Verizon. You're big enough that you can talk to Lego and be like, "Hey, we're setting up a booth at your event. Can you give us some Lego to like give away to people?" Um, so I thought that was kind of weird. But then, what else really to say? I mean, it was a whole lot bigger. We had a lot. I think they said over 200 first time attendees, and that's on the AVOL side. I forget how many actual, like, overall general admission attendees they said there were, but it was definitely a lot, which was really cool to see. And then our keynote was Girl Bricks a Lot, which I don't know a whole lot about her or the kind of content that she makes, but I thought she did a pretty good job. Uh, she didn't come off as like too pretentious or anything, um, but also like she felt very genuine, which was kind of nice. And yeah, I think that's about it for my thoughts on this year's Brick Slopes. I had a really fun time. Um, Everything went really well. I still do think, I know I wouldn't have won, but I really think that there ought to be a Dark Hours trophy. Um, but yeah, because I really do enjoy the Dark Hours, though you can see in this video, which actually this is a good time because we're looking at my mock. Um, Unfortunately, the like light at the end of the building they refuse to turn off, and so you can see that like the Star Wars section looks as bright as it does in the day, which is really irritating. I know safety is a thing, but I mean, come on, man. Like, can we put light strips down on the ground or like do something else? Come on, Mountain America. Let's change that up. But yeah, that's about it for this Brick Slopes overview. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked the video and subscribe. And bye bye.